Hello and welcome to We Live in a Society.
My name is Zawwad and I am from Gujarat, a city in Pakistan. Well, my childhood was, I would say that it was very good because we are five siblings, and it was fun growing up with like brothers and sisters, and we were like living in a joint family system, and so we had my cousins with us, and we used to play a lot, and yeah, I think I had like good memories of my childhood, but yeah, the most interesting thing was that I was studying in a school which was run by my uncle. So, and we were living like in the same building. There was school on the first floor, and we were living on the second floor. Well, on the ground floor and the first floor. So it was easy to go to the school because you just wake up and get ready, and you just have to take the stairs to go to the school. And yeah, and when the school ends in the ground, all the cousins, we used to play a lot. The cricket, the most famous game in Pakistan. So yeah, the most of the childhood activities, like the children in Pakistan, they play cricket. Like maybe I would say like 90% of the children, they play cricket, they watch cricket. So yeah, there is no other sports to do in Pakistan. So yeah, so that in that case, yeah, in Pakistan it's like that because we were living in a joint family system. So my uncle was a sort of famous personality in the city because of he was heading some trusts there at that time, and also some religious organizations as well. So he was like very famous in the administration of the city, and with all other political figures in the city. So there was always like a sort of threat to his life from different factors or different facts of the society. So our childhood was like very restricted because we were not allowed to go outside alone, and if someone will visit us, we will have to ask all the details before opening the door, and to tell and ask before our uncle that this person is there, should we open the door or not, so these sort of things. So I think even I cannot compare my city in 80s with the other cities, but I can compare my home in 80s with the other homes in the same city. So that was completely different because my friends, they used to play outside in the playgrounds, they used to go outside, but me, I couldn't do that because of all these security problems in my family. So yeah, I feel now that it would have been better if I would go outside to play. Maybe I would have been a better player now, which I'm not now. Yeah, I would say that when I was like a teenage boy, I applied for military in Pakistan as a commissioned officer. First time I got rejected, and the second time when I applied, I got through, and I passed the initial exams, and I passed the medical and all that, and then they asked for the ISSB, which is an exam for like 4 or 5 days, which they take, which is very important and difficult to pass. That I failed in the first time as well, but at that time I was also studying in a pharmacy school. So I decided at that time, I said, well, look, if I'll go to the military, I think that's not my cup of tea, because the life is well, I am disciplined, but there is another kind of discipline in the military, and then you can never go outside of your country. And I thought at that time that I that I want to visit other countries, I want to visit the world. And I said that if I will go to the military, it will be very difficult to get the NOC to go outside of the Pakistan. And then, so I decided to turn down the opportunity that I had. Well, it was not the opportunity at that time, but I had the call for ISSB to go there and to take the exam. So I refused that call. I didn't go there, And then I decided to continue with my pharmacy studies. I did my PharmD, and then I was lucky to get the scholarship to come to France. And since my arrival to France, I have visited like maybe more than 10 countries. So I think I think that that moment, when I look back, I think that moment was that decision was really important in my life, because if I would have accepted something like that and I would have gone in the military or somewhere, maybe the life would have been completely different. So yeah, I think that was the very important decision of my life. Scholarship for my PhD in France was, I think, one of the greatest achievement of my life, because it was a very competitive exam that I passed there, and my name was in the merit list, and then I came here in France. I did my master, my PhD, and during all these years, it was very tough because I had to manage a lot of things in a new country with different language. And so it's like in a new place with a lot of problems, but trying to manage all that. I had the support of my family and my wife, especially because she came here with me as well, and then we have a kid. So it was difficult to manage all that, but we are happy that we managed all that very well. And today is my last day of the PhD year, so I'm moving from France now, but I'm happy that I did it great. Yeah. Greatest struggle. Well, it's a good question, but I think so far because after graduation, the greatest struggle was to get a PhD, and when I got it, then I was relaxed. So for the past 4 years, there is no struggle, in fact, in my life. The only struggle was to just cope up with all the everyday tasks, administrative paperwork in France, lab work, family time. So that was the only struggle, I think. And it's if you think it's I think it's a bit too much. Yeah. Never give up, I would say, because my wife, she was looking for a PhD, and for last many years, for like 3 years, and she had good grades and everything, but she couldn't get a position. But she didn't give up, and finally she got a very good opportunity. So I think that the only thing in the life, if you want to achieve something, just aim for it and keep struggling, and you will get it if you are motivated enough and if you are in the right direction. So for me, I think if I were to give an advice to someone, I mean, who is relevant to this advice, is that never give up in your life, and you will get what you are struggling for. The happiest moment, yeah. I think that was the marriage day, the wedding day, yeah. Because we both belong to very different backgrounds, in fact. In Pakistan, we have caste system, we have sect, religious sects, different sects. We both came from very opposite ends, because we both were not from the same caste. And then the religion, the sect was different, because I am from Shiite Muslims and she's from Salafis or Wahhabis. That is completely opposite of what I followed. So that was very difficult, but we made a decision, and so far so good. We are going good, and so I think the happiest moment was my wedding day. It was like 3 years back. The most memorable vacation was my honeymoon. That when I went like a couple of years back, I went with my wife to Italy, and we took a cruise ship from Marseille, which is a city of France, from Marseille to Genoa, city of Italy, and it was a wonderful experience. And then we from Genoa we went to Venice, and we stayed there for like 1 week. And then we came back to, we went from there, we went to Geneva, and then from Geneva we came back to Lyon, where I live in France. So it was a very memorable trip. We had a lot of memories. We took a lot of beautiful romantic photos, and we had a lot of fun as well. By the way, she was pregnant at that time, so so that was our the first and the last trip together without the kids. Yeah. The saddest moment was when my wife, she was in the labor room, and they throughout the pregnancy they said that it will be a normal delivery, and she was very motivated to do it like in a normal way and not to go for the C-section. But like after 24 hours or something, like 30 hours of pain that she bore, and all the pain, the sufferings in the labor room. At the end, they said that no, we have to operate because the baby is not in the right position, and she was not at all willing for that, and she cried a lot. So did I. So I think that was the saddest moment in my life, and I was like very sad on behalf of her because she really wanted to do it like in a normal way, and it didn't turn out to be like that. So I think so far that was my saddest moment in my life. Yeah. Well, when I came first time in France, our lab where I was working as a master's student, and then after as a PhD student, it was built quite in quite a lot of years old lab. One night I had to stay longer, like to finish the experiment. And it was in fact that it is a big building, and after like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the night, there is no one, and I'm all alone in that building, and with all these maybe the animals in Animal House and me. So when I was leaving, I was like, well, I had to like convince myself that there is nothing, but even a single very how I would say that even a small voice would afraid me. So I think that was the time when I was afraid. Yeah, that question I would like to answer, because when I came to France, it was a completely different culture, and then in the lab, I have never worked at that time in a research lab, and it was new for me how to behave in a teamwork and how it works like in a research lab. Sometimes like in our lab, they used to do like if there is a birthday of a team member, that team member would bring a cake and would put it on the table in the common room, and then everyone can, whenever he or she has time, can come and eat a small piece of it and just go to say, okay, happy birthday, and thank you very much for the cake, it was delicious, like that. So all these sort of things. So one day there was it was my first year in France, and it was the birthday of our team leader, and he brought like some very good French from like sweets, and he put it on the table, and I entered the room and I saw, oh wow, there are a lot of sweets, and I love sweets. So and my team leader was standing next to me at that time, but I thought that it's like usual that somebody will come and take the part and then just go and say happy birthday, and I didn't know that he was waiting for the other team members. So I just I came in the room, I pulled out the chair, I sit down, and I took a big piece of the sweet and I ate it. And I was and he was looking at me, what he's doing, and I was like, well, did I do something wrong? And then I said, happy birthday, Charles. And I was sitting there, and in next 3 minutes, all the team was there, and then Charles cut the cake and so yeah, and then when they did so, I was so embarrassed because there were like a couple of people there, and they were looking at me what I'm doing, and because I was not waiting for the other team members. I think that was the most embarrassing moment of my life. Well, it's a very difficult question. I would say that Mr. Jinnah, who was the founder of Pakistan, there are a few things that are still I sometimes object, but on a whole, he was a personality really which deserves to be admired. And I admired him because he was in that time frame when he lived in the earth, in this universe, in this society. He was not like he was a figure like who was different from the other people in that society at that time. He was super intelligent. He was super honest, I would say, and a great politician. Yeah, I would say that I would go back and I would like to witness the partition of India, because that was the saddest part of the history, and the way the British divided India. It was not a good way to divide it, and because of this division, still that region is facing the results. And not only now, but at that time of division, there was like the biggest migration on the earth was happened at that time, and a lot of people died, a lot of people were homeless. And now when I saw documentaries and people from my parents, when my grandparents, when I used to ask them that how it was like in 1947 when it was divided, and they used to tell us the stories which were completely unacceptable, like neighbors who were living for centuries together, they just became enemies in one night, in one division. So I would like to witness that moment, that what they decided and why they decided to do like this in India, and still we are facing the problems there. I follow Shia, which is a sect in Islam, and I try to be really regular in following this. But lately I have some questions which raised in my mind. I'm trying to find the answers to that questions, and I think that if I follow something, I should have a reason to follow it. So that's the point that I would like to explore further my this religion, and to see if it really worth to be followed or not. In fact, the religion helped me a lot. Especially in my teenage, because at that time I was like really a religious person. So at that time it helped me a lot. But yeah, so I think that where I am standing today, it's just because of my hard work that I did in my teenage, because I got good grades and then it continued. And yeah, so I think religion helped me a lot in my professional career, in my personality making. But yeah. So I think that it helped me a lot. Well, as I mentioned earlier, that me and my wife, they both came from a very opposite sects, religious sects. When we such sort of marriages are not very common in Pakistan, because Shias will marry in Shias and Wahhabis will marry in Wahhabis, Sunnis will marry in Sunni. So it's very uncommon. But because when we decided to get married, at that time we thought about this question as well, and I think that the best way is that I will tell him what I know, his mom will tell him what she knows, and then he has the global village, the world, and he can access all the information he wants if he wants. So I would give him a complete freedom to follow the religion that he likes to follow. So, but I will tell him that what I follow and why I do follow it if I know. So I think that it's a personal matter for everyone if he wants to follow religion, and I have nothing to do with that. Maybe a little bit of editing, but I would say that I would do it the same way again. I wouldn't change anything. Yeah, it was very good so far. My life is really blessed, so yeah, I wouldn't change anything. I would like to tell a story which was like hilarious, and when I was in my pharmacy school, and one of my friends, his name was Imran. Sorry, Imran, I'm taking your name. And he was presenting a presentation on pharmacopoeias, and he said that there are different volumes of pharmacopoeias, and that Imran was a kind of personality, like a person who's really sometimes who does the strange things, which makes no logic. So he was like presenting, and he said that pharmacopoeias have different volumes, and in pharmacopoeias there are different monographs. So he said that the monographs are arranged alphabetically, and from A to G, for example, I forgot the name, the alphabet exactly, but he said that from A to G is in volume 1, and from H to Z is in volume 2, and blah blah, like that. And I was sitting in the audience, and I said, excuse me, I have a question. He said, yes, what's that question? I said, you said that from A to G is in volume A, and from H to this alphabet, it's in volume 2. He said, yes. But I said, where are the monographs between G and H? And he was like, well, I read like this. It was written like this in the book. And I said, yeah, but you didn't search for those monographs, those missing monographs. Where are those? And he was like, no, ma'am. And he started to talking with the professor. And he said, no, ma'am, I saw like this. Really, I know it was from A to G and from H to Z. It was like, and even our professor was like, really, Imran, where are those missing monographs? I don't know. Zawwad, why did you ask this question? And I was like, yes, I don't know. Where are these missing monographs? All the class was laughing. Everyone was laughing out loud, except the professor and Imran. They both were really surprised that where are those missing monographs? And after 10 minutes, nobody dared to speak because everyone was laughing. And after 10 minutes, I said, Imran, there is no alphabet between G and H. And then he started abusing me. You are a very stupid guy. That was the most memorable moment of my graduation as well.
We live in a society